During any given NHL game, there's a lot of trash talking going on out on the ice. Personally, I always found that the best way to get under opponent's skin was with my stick, not with words. The next player in our countdown let his racket do all of his talking, and it always spoke loud and clear. When he stepped on a tennis court, it was always substance over style.
Number 5 in our top 100 countdown is Pete Sampras, who won 14 major titles and finished number 1 6 years in a row.
The 1990 U.S. Open was his rival. He had a night match. He ended Ivan Lendl's reign. Lendl had one of the great runs of all time with his consecutive U.S. Open finals. Pete snapped it. Then went on to win the Open. And that was really his entry onto the stage.
Pete Sampras would be the other guy that I would put in the mix. I think he's the greatest fast court player in the history of our sport. The way Pete served and put pressure and didn't allow you to get into rhythm, I think he was better than any of these guys at Wimbledon.
Well, I think when I won my first Wimbledon in '93, I got to be number 1. I felt a certain aura about my game that I finally figured it out, not only my tennis, but just mentally and working harder, and it just turned this huge corner just after losing the Edberg in the U.S. Open final. It changed my whole attitude towards the sport, and I just felt that '93 was the beginning of a domination. I just felt my game was right, I was right as a player. I felt very comfortable in my own skin.
The toughest guy in my era was Pete Sampras. Pete has a pretty dominant record in the 90s over his major rivals, including me. And he always presented a great challenge because of his serve. First and second serve, probably two of the biggest weapons that the sport's ever seen in the men's game. So he was the mark, and in a lot of ways still is the mark.
He was difficult because of what an athlete he was. Obviously, the weapons he brought to the table with his serve, with his hands, with his speed, with the weight of his forehand was such a big shot. But he also had an ability to unsettle your game, never gave you a rhythm. He could bring you down. You could think everything was fine for 35 minutes, and then in 30 seconds the set's over with. And I think that was an underrated part of his game.
Like, I figured it out. It takes time. It's progression, there's no doubt. And it just took me, not until I was probably 23, to feel like, okay, this is it.
I'd known him since he was 16, but once I started traveling with him when he was 23, I was so amazed that a 23-year-old could be so steadfast and true to what he was trying to do, day in and day out.
Being number 1 isn't about just playing great tennis. You really have to be consumed with the sport. And I sacrificed more than everyone. I worked maybe a little bit harder than the rest.
Whenever Pete Sampras came along, unfortunately he had a bit more horsepower than I did, especially facing him in the Wimbledon final or semi-final, which happened a few times. I kind of knew that if he's on, I don't really have a chance. It made me respect him so much more. I mean, the fact that he's won 14 Grand Slam titles. I've played a few guys, but amongst all of them, for me, the most frightening player to play was Pete Sampras.
But to me, it was Sampras was the strongest player of that generation.
When he was just better than me, everything he did was better. Served better, volleyed better, moved better, did everything better. So it was a terrible matchup.
Well, I knew that eventually it would be broken, particularly the singles record. I admired Sampras. For anyone to break it, Sampras the first one who did it. I didn't mind at all.
To me, the only thing Sampras was missing was a French Open title.
If he'd have thrown away his big game and taken a chance, he might have had a chance to win there. But it's really a ground stroker's haven when you get to Roland Garros.
I mean, he was the greatest Wimbledon player ever, without a doubt, with 7 titles, and he won 5 U.S. Opens. So again, the weight of his record was on the 2 most prestigious events. I still believe that he, at his best, would beat Federer at his best. I just think that Federer has the greater record. I believe that Sampras' game was more daunting.
Well, I think the majors obviously stand out more than anything, but I think staying on top of the game for 6-7 years was the most difficult thing to do in sports. Just to be consistent, to be healthy, to do it in a sport that I'm on my own. It's hard to do. Trust me, it's a hard thing to do, to stay on top of any sport. And to be that consistent, I feel pretty good about that.
Stay with us for the final 4 of Tennis Channel's 100